Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dibbly Dobblers Cricket Podcast. As always, I am your main host Callum, and as always, I am joined by producer, director, dinner lady, shoe shiner, rope untangler.
No, you did most of the untangling.
I did do most untangling, actually.
I just walked the length of
yes.
Victoria Park in Aberfeldy, holding on to the end of the rope.
Measuring tape that's cut a foot short. Measurer.
Really lots of... right. Hi,
well,
I'm Andrew. You alright?
I'm alright, aye. I mean...
You
well,
dried
no,
out?
I'm not dried out, no. There's just because people will be wondering what the heck we're talking about. We were
Same as normal.
squaring the wicket tonight. It's good. It's only the middle of April and we start soon, but it's good. We're squaring up the wicket, so that's it was
It's not been rolled yet.
not been rolled, not been cut. I mean, it's still actually going to be in better condition than last year, though,
I genuinely think it already is, but I'm not even joking.
Just by the rain.
Not even joking.
What were the scores at the start of the season like?
47, 46, I think we got bowled out for in the first game of the year last year.
So that's your fault.
We bowled a team out for 19 early in the year, didn't we? Didn't you and Ethan and not me at all?
I took like 4 for 4 or something in that game. So it's going to be better than that, hopefully.
It should be.
Surely, God. Well, anyway, on this episode, though, we're not talking about quality Breadalbane Div 1 cricket. We are touching on the Eastern Premier League.
We are. So we've got an interview, haven't we? First up. Joined by a couple of different clubs, actually.
Drive for 4. Got to.
Yeah.
That's about our level, that.
It is, but I mean, we got our reliables, didn't we? I think
that's
the two most frequent guests that we've got on. So, Persil from Meigle and Jack Hogarth from Forfarshire joined us to discuss the upcoming Eastern Premier League season, and you can enjoy that right now.
Welcome to Persil and Jack Hogarth. Persil representing Meigle and Jack Hogarth from Forfarshire. How you doing tonight, guys?
Very well, thanks, lads. Cheers for
You should
having
have
me
asked them
again.
one at a time, shouldn't you?
They're trying to work out how to speak. That's poor present for me.
Me and Percy are just looking at each other.
That's why I let you start, Andrew.
Well, we'll run with that.
Look, Jack's just watching the football. That's a shambles.
It is.
Some
Right,
big games,
so we've got the pair of you on for our Eastern Premier League preview episode. We were hoping to have all the SPCU clubs represented, but I suppose we'll catch up with the others during the season.
No, they've had their chance. Done.
Did nobody from Arbroath reply? Oh, wait, they're not in the league anymore.
Oh, there it is.
Shots fired. Right, well, we'll come to you, Persil, first. Meigle back in the big time. How are you feeling? How's the preparation been coming into your return to the Eastern Premier League?
Yeah, feeling pretty good about it. It's different second time round, obviously. Boys have had a wee bit of experience of it. I think the Big Village Cup games we've played as well the last couple of years too. We've thrown ourselves in the T20 for a few years as well, playing better teams. So we've played a lot of good teams, a lot of good cricketers, know what's needed for that step up. So there's no assurances that things will go better than last time, but I do feel like with just the feeling about the camp, because you've been there and you've done it, there's no fear factor. There's a lot of sort of nervous energy the first time. Plus we had the whole COVID year as well. So we went up in 2019 and we had to basically wait a whole year. It was like the longest pre-season in history. So yeah, it's been quite good to have a normal sort of, like, obviously you win the league, you have a playoff, bit of downtime, and then start building up again. So yeah, it's good to have had that experience. Obviously, we'd have liked not to have got relegated. It's a pretty hellish experience, to be honest. But in the end, these things can be quite positive. You can take a lot of positives from it. So we know what to expect, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you've made 3 or 4 signings over this close season as well. Do you want to talk us through them? If you can remember them all.
Yeah. No, we
It's
can't.
like it's like Nottingham Forest at Meigle.
Andrew and I were messaging back and forth, and he was trying to get things out of me. But the boys will tell you until things are 100%, I never get carried away. So yeah, we've 3 signings. So we've not really lost anyone. A couple of guys are a little bit older, probably won't feature at all or very much. Got a few homegrown young lads who may feature probably more in the T20 and things like that, and we'll see how they go in the Scottish Cup, Village Cup coming in some of those days. But yeah, the 3 guys that have come in, all very exciting players. So we've signed Sammy Ejaz from Strathmore. He's a bit of a friend of the club. He's been around the club quite a lot. He's played at high school. He's played at Strathmore. He's got friends in the club, so he's kind of slotted in. But it kind of feels like he's been there for ages. Like he would come and watch all our Village Cup games. He was down in Lancashire when we won down there. Famous win down there, which was a great day. So he's kind of part of the furniture already. Offers a lot with the ball. He's been part of the SACA, the South Asian Cricket Academy squad. So he's benefited a lot from that. The coaching team there have done great work on him. Colin Sillers and Kyle Fitzer and Simon Majid and Saeed, these guys, so he's put on a bit of pace over the winter, which is great, and he's looking real fit, and obviously know what he can do with the bat. So he's one that we hope to get for a while, and finally we've got him. The other one from Strathy that I think Liam was saying in his podcast that we'd also nick them as well. Side of the bag too, but Tian Brits, South African overseas player from last year. He was injured for a wee while last year. His stats are unbelievable. He scored 500 runs in T20 alone. And
tell me about
it. Sorry, Hobie. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. Some player. We fortunately a couple of cracking South Africans in the past. Obviously, Ryan Watson started with us when he came over, and Gerard Brophy and Paul Harris. Played some guns for Africans back in the day. So nice to have a South African back in Meigle, which is great. So we'll see what Tian can do. He's a really nice guy as well. That's something that really struck me last year when I spent a bit of time in his company a few times as well. Not just a serious player, but a good bloke, and it's good to show the young guys you can be both, rather than have to be something that you're not. So he's one of the other signings, and then Addy Hegde from Gordonians, who's young left arm spinner, cracking bat as well. 300 odd runs last year. Did not very many games for Gordos, and playing for his country at age group level too. So it was just something we probably needed, someone that could turn the ball a bit more. We've got some slower bowlers that you can set a field to, which is great, but I think it's going to be great to have someone that can give it a bit of a rag too. So three exciting signings. As I said, we've got some young lads pushing through ourselves, Ian Christie, Matthew Sinclair, Fred Kelly. They'll hopefully start to edge in as well, and kind of mean that we'll bring our average age down a wee bit as well. So yeah, it's looking all right. It's one of those ones you don't want to get too carried away, because you can train well in pre-season and what have you, but it comes down to the games, and there'll obviously be a couple of tough days at the office. It's one day cricket. You can be great one week, and next week maybe things don't fall for you. So we'll have to be resilient and bounce back a couple of times, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm feeling that they're as prepared as they can be. Amateur team, you only see them maybe once, twice a week. So when they're there, the guys are really putting in a shift all through the indoors and now outdoors. So I don't feel like I could ask any more of them. I don't feel anyone slacking. I don't feel like I'm not chasing anybody up for more effort, which is great. Obviously trying to say, work on this, work on that. But effort is there in spades. So yeah, I think we're just ready to. We've got a tour this weekend, and then a couple more friendly games the weekend after, and then just ready to go for the end of April and Carter. Oh, we're going to tour. We are going to. That's the delay from Aberfeldy to Cardisti. We're going to Basin Saturday, then Carlisle on Sunday.
All right, nice.
T20 on Sunday. and then Saturday, at Nunham. It's a great deck. So really like it as a ground, and got a few good players. So at Dumfries too. So I think it'll be a real good wee workout down there.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
I don't know if Jack's really excited about you guys going down to Dumfries. So
I've got
no.
both actually. Something is happening in football, but more importantly, are you staying in Dumfries on the Saturday?
No, I'm staying in Carlisle, Airbnb.
You've missed out majorly. Honestly, what
Really?
a place Dumfries is. Really. We had in 2019, we had the grand final at Grange on the Saturday, and then had the T20 final at Dumfries on the Sunday. And we went down and stayed over on the Saturday, and it was one of the best nights of my life. Honestly, incredible place. I didn't know what to expect, but honestly,
Has Richard really
10 out of
paid
10.
you to say that? Just out of interest.
Ambassador.
No,
Brand ambassador for Dumfries. Richard Rennie.
I actually always forget he's from there. And I always talk so highly of the place and realise he's from there. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to derelict him a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've got family down there, so I've had a couple of nights out in Dumfries. I wouldn't write home about it, I've got to say, but
I might have just gone on a good night, but honestly, it was.
What that shows you is the
it
difference
was
between being drunk in Dumfries and being sober in Dumfries.
oh no, so one of the
yeah.
nights out I had in Dumfries was the weekend of my 18th birthday, so I was
3 Bacardi Breeze.
absolutely, yeah, mad with that. Yeah, so Hoagie, you've jumped in, so we'll come and speak to you then. So Forfs, obviously a great year in the Cups last year. Fell short in the league, which I'm sure you guys kind of are maybe looking to right that this year. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. Last year, it was really tight between us, Grange and Heriots last year. And I think a lot of people think it'll be. He's at the post. I think a lot of people think it'll be a similar sort of thing there. Obviously, we've added Lyle Robertson from Falkland, really exciting young player. Managed to keep Leesky and managed to keep the overseas Jack O'Neill from last year. So we feel like we've got a really strong team, but then you're always up against Edinburgh, daddy money, buying everybody they can see. So that's always a good challenge, but we feel like we're in a really good place from last year. And also just having gone to Spain there and learned a lot out there. As I say, looking to improve on where we finished in the league last year, and if we could do what we did in the Cups last year, that would be brilliant.
Where do you, obviously you've mentioned having Lyle, which is a big loss to Falkland. Probably Meigle quite happy that you've taken Lyle off Falkland, I would imagine. Where do you see, obviously you're trying to go one step further kind of thing this year. Where do you sort of see him slotting into quite a strong side?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because we've got so many batters as well. It's, we spoke to a few people about coming this year because we were unsure what was happening with Leesky, and there was a potential of a few people, but it's quite a hard sell when we've got so many all-rounders as well. It's like quite hard to fit people in, but for me personally, I don't know if this will happen or not, but for me personally, like when I've played 18 cricket and stuff with Lyle, he opens the bowling a lot as well. And I feel like that's something that he does quite effectively. He's got a good arm ball, bowling around the wicket, and he bowls at a good pace. So I think that's an option we could explore. But obviously in the middle, his economy and stuff in the league last year was really good, and for the A team, so he could easily come in the middle with myself, Leesky, Jack O'Neill, etc. And with the bat, probably hard to say really. It's a hard top six to get into. I'm sure that's where he'll want to bat. It'll be interesting to see how that transpires. You've got sort of from fives down. You've got Callum, Garden, Scott Cameron, myself, and Lyle. So I think it will just be whoever starts doing well, puts the runs on the board, and cements a place. But as I say, it's a good headache to have having that many options, and then you've still got people like Lewis James after that. So you're sort of batting all the way down to 9 and 10.
Yep. So basically, you don't know, it's bits and pieces playing, is that?
Nah. As long as he
Essentially, he's
does
gonna
what he did at
take your
Falkland
batting
last
slot
year.
and use up your overs, Jack. To be honest,
He very might well take my batting slot, but as long as he makes runs, then I don't care. But if he doesn't make runs and takes my batting slot, I'll be saying something.
Can't imagine that happening. You saying something?
No, I'm a man of few words. I'm gonna. But no, we're hoping that he can hit the ground running. He's obviously good friends with quite a few of us as well, so he's slotted in really nicely. To be honest, as we kind of expected, what would happen. So now, if he hits the ground running, and we start well, I think we're in Edinburgh 3 out of the 4 of our first games. So we're pretty good away from home last year. We need to replicate that early doors.
And Persil's obviously touched on what Meigle are doing in the pre-season. What's your guys' schedule looking like for
that? So our one was a bit strange, really, because obviously we had Spain, so we had we trained from mid no, just indoor stuff while the nets were getting done up. But so finally the nets are we're back training in there now. They're pretty much all sorted. So we had a little block there, and then we had sort of a month and a half block of training there, training outside just before Spain, completely T10 based, which was interesting. It's a lot of fun. Just balls going everywhere, really. And now we've come back from that, had a little break. Yeah, I see that a lot, especially when I'm bowling you, apparently. I thought I'd get that in there before you get that in there. So,
Jack for 6. You heard about
that? Persil's on mute, so we can't hear him.
Sorry, yeah. No, I did. The one you did was it your office?
Yes, yeah.
I think it was in some indecent PE teacher shorts. They were a bit short, those shorts, but yeah. I took from that.
That's the most views we've ever had on that episode.
I bet. You needed Spain for some tan in those days, but yeah. See if you can do it again, the Hoagie, eh? One small.
Yeah. Listen, that's what I say. Let's just see if he can do it again. But unfortunately, in Spain, there was a few people that could do it again and again and again and again. As Bryce Auction found out, but I really shouldn't be saying that because he'll take that to heart. But to be fair,
there's no editing on this podcast, so it's in the cut.
Job, so nah, I got Bryce a job the other week, so he'll be happy. I've got a few in me for him, but so now we're just back. Had a little break after Spain, and just back training in the dome now, both Tuesday and Thursdays. Trying to get outside when we can. It's been a bit tricky. We got hybrid wickets put on the square, so the square's a bit out of use at the minute. Trying to get them ready for the season, which will be interesting. Don't really know what to expect. Don't know if any of you three know anything about hybrid wicket. I certainly don't. As long as it spins as much spun last year, I don't care.
So what have you got? Have you got friendlies coming up this weekend and next weekend?
Well, we were meant to play Arbroath on Saturday. That's been called off tonight. They can't get their square ready, unfortunately. So next week we are playing Clydesdale at Fort Hill.
Be a good
and
preparation for
that's
the
it.
year.
And we're straight. But as I say, I think because of Spain and stuff, we didn't have much of a break. I think I had a month off, and then we've just trained basically the whole way through, and then had a pretty full-on tournament. Had a week off, and then got back into training. So, to be honest, the boys are raring to go. To be like, boys are looking really good. Everyone's champing the bit to just get out there and play. I think, and then sort of, I know you start missing games and stuff. So now we're looking forward to it. I'd say just want to get outside now because it feels like I've been inside for a wee while after Spain.
Just
But
need this
the
rain to
hands,
disappear.
yeah, the hands might take a wee bit getting used to because it's not quite Malaga out there at the minute.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's a hard life, Jack. It's a hard life.
It's tough
Right.
life. It's tough.
Well, it's good to hear what you've been doing in transfers and things like this. But it's time we ask you some tough questions. So, Persil, who are you backing to win the EPL this year?
Oh,
Who do I back to win the league?
Aye.
I would stay in Caledonia. I would back Forfarshire.
Oh,
Great
Good man.
answer.
And I'd say that if Poggy wasn't 5 minutes along the road. He'd reach my front door in about 5 minutes from where he currently abides. So, but no, I think, well, as he says, he signed someone of the quality of Lyle, who's an outstanding prospect, big future with Scotland, full team. And you're wondering where does he slot in? I mean, that's how able that squad is. And yeah, there's boys that play in that second team that are really, really unfortunate and to miss out because of in other clubs to be in. And waiting in the wings, you've got Thomas Knight, who's an incredible young talent coming through. So yeah, I think in some ways, and I speak as a team that plays in quite a few cups. Like if you do well in cups, though, sometimes it can add pressure on your league, or later in the season. So that's the only thing you see it in the football. Liverpool, Man City have in recent years tried to win 4 things and end up with 1 or 2. It's hard to do everything. Force have gone guy close a couple of times, to be fair, but it is tough to battle on every front. So that's the only thing that could maybe take a toll. Like you could almost be a victim of your own success of playing a lot of games. These guys have played Scotland Day, they play Cali Highlanders. So if the body start to feel it late on, maybe they're hanging on with K-tape and ibuprofen late in the season. But no, I think that it'd be great to see them do it and keep the title out of Edinburgh.
a lot of love for Edinburgh on the show. Right, well, Jack, I'm then going to come to you with a different question because I know who you're going to hope to win the league. I think hopefully, Persil, we're friends with you guys at Meigle, but hopefully I don't take too much offence. I think in reality, probably the 3 favourite teams to go down this year are probably the 3 Strathmore Union clubs that, aside from Force, I don't think that would be too unfair to say that, based on the last few seasons and whatnot. So, Jack, who are you backing? Will be nice. Who are you backing to stay up out of those 3?
We want 2 of them.
So you don't have to be cool and say who's going to be relegated, but yeah. So,
in all honesty, I think all 3 of them will stay up.
Oh, right, okay.
Who have you got going down then?
I think Christophin are going to struggle. That's my prediction.
Someone big recently.
Well, Hogie told us they were signing someone.
They're gonna need to sign somebody because they're too big.
Hogie's gossip. Is that what it is?
We've lost him.
Pretty much. Yeah, well, Caleb Whiteford's a good bowler. He got injured, missed half the season, and then Naylor and Dickinson pretty much carried them. They've got the guy George West, a good player, but I'm not sure if they have definitely signed these boys. If they have, then I think they'll be okay. But as it stands, they definitely, I think, need to get somebody in, which is actually quite sad because they did really well last year. and improved a lot. But I suppose money talks in Edinburgh, so that's the end of that. But I think it's tough. I think that I actually, and I'm not just saying this because as I say, with the signings they've made, Sam Ija is a really good cricketer. I've coached him a few times and been really impressed by him. Growing up playing against him, I've seen firsthand what Tian Brits can do. He's a really, really good talent. He as much, but with the players who already have added them, and there'll be no problems there. Stonywood can go on a bit of a bad run, and they did that towards the end of last year. So they really need to avoid doing stuff like that. They're the ones that do worry me a little bit. But again, Falkland have signed a couple of players as well, which I think should be enough to keep them up. So the two that I would be more worried about would be Stonywood and Christoffen, depending on who they sign. Stu Mel as well are always in and around it. They've signed Riyad Henry, but again, I don't know if the pro from last year is coming back. But if they got them to, they rely very heavily on them. So I'm going to say an outside strange prediction. I'm going to say Christoffen.
Oh, well, there we go. Proves me wrong. Sounds like you're getting
And
mid-table, Persil.
And I hate playing at Christoffen, so I really hope they go down. Bro, I absolutely Stu Mel and Christoffen. Oh no. No.
I love the honesty. I really do.
Not for me. Not for me.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm back in Meigle for mid-table this year as well. I've heard it said quite widely that that's the expectation that everyone has on you. So hope you can back it up.
Oh, thanks for all the pressure. It's just
Big pressure.
Well, like, you know, obviously you don't go up to fail, do you?
No.
I do think this time we do feel better prepared. We do feel, you know, a wee bit more strength in the batting department. Last time we were really good bowling side, fielding side, but we just didn't cut the mustard with the bat, to be honest. So that was an area that needed addressed. And these young lads that I'm saying that are coming through, they're just not quite there yet. So yeah, you need to look externally, don't you? So yeah, hopefully we're not just hanging on for dear life at the end like last time. We can maybe look a wee bit further up, but you know, lots and lots of good players, lots of good teams. So yeah, there's no givens in this league. It's really, really competitive. So yeah, we'll see where we are in a few weeks' time and reassess, and hopefully we can start to live up to some of these predictions people are making. It's very kind of people to say these things, but at the end of the day, you've got to make them happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the time on our Zoom call is getting very close because we're too cheap to pay for a membership. So I think we'll have to wrap it up there. But yeah, wish both of you all the best of luck for the season ahead. And I'm sure we'll catch up with both of you. I know, Hoagie, you're going to be a regular in the weeks ahead, aren't you?
Exclusive.
I mean, I think we've mentioned it before. Haven't we?
Just just hanging around like a bad smell, mate. Just try to get as much airtime as I can.
Just watching football less, though. That'd be great.
That would be.
I'm trying, but I'm trying.
And yeah, Persil, it's what your third appearance, and I'm sure there'll be another one at least through the season. So yeah, we'll be at your door again. But yeah, all the best.
I'll come to Stobie, Jack. We'll do it live from
Brilliant. Bring your bulletproof vest in. We should be alright.
But yeah, all the best for the season ahead.
Yeah, guys.
And we'll catch up with you again soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us on. Cheers. Bye.
Big thanks to Persil and Hoagie for joining us once again. And yeah, best of luck to both of you and your clubs as we move into the season. Hope you both do fantastically well. Well, unless Persil's playing
I was gonna
second
say,
11 cricket and against us, then I hope he does less well.
I'm not
but
sure Persil will be actually performing much in the EPL. I don't know. We didn't actually ask him that, but I think
No, but he's head
Persil's-
coach, so
yeah, head cheerleader.
his lads.
his
yeah.
boys, Bondo
Yeah.
lads.
Anyway, we're going to give some of our thoughts on what's going to happen this year.
I mean, we should, Ken. We do have our own podcast, so
Yeah.
it's probably best that we share our own opinions.
Yeah, let's do that then. So, Eastern Premier League is all the chat in this episode. So, on you go, Callum.
Yeah, I mean, Persil had hinted that he thought Forfs. I would imagine Hoagie would have also thought the same. I just couldn't be bothered to ask him and just hear the answer. He'd have sat on the fence, to be honest.
Probably a little
given
bit,
as a
yeah.
politician's answer. But obviously he will be hoping that they will come out victorious. I still think it's hard to look past Heriots unless I've not heard that the squad is decimated. So I think it's quite. I mean, they just got quality players left, right, and centre. Whether that's due to, as Jack says, daddy money, who knows? But the reality of it is they've got an absolute.
Yeah, I mean they lose Mark Watt and they're able to go and replace him with a skipper and leading wicket taker of one of the other Edinburgh clubs. So
Yeah. And we touched on last year about how they'd kind of strengthened even further, and like signed bowlers who they didn't seem to need and things like that. So, and part of that is covering international players. Still think it's probably quite hard to look past them, and I think we've touched on it before. I still look at Forth's seam bowling attack.
yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I still think that's a sort of glaring weakness that they probably possess. Undoubtedly a fantastic squad.
and they
but-
do have some very good seamers as well. But
yeah.
it's. I do still think that squad is a seamer short, probably.
Yes.
But, yeah. But I still think they'll be there or thereabouts. There is, as I said, there's quality throughout that squad. They bat all the way down, pretty much.
Yeah, I think I would be expecting, to be honest, the top three to be the same top
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting to see a massive change. So then you had, coming down from the last season, you had Carlton at fourth. I would imagine they'll be challenging for there or thereabout again. They'll be expecting to come top half, so I don't see a big change there.
Yeah.
And Watsonians are the other ones. So they've still got Ollie Hales, I believe, at the club, even though he's stepped down from international cricket. I believe
Yep,
he's still
think
there.
so.
Heard Watsonians linked with quite a few names over the sort of off-season period, but not actually seen any confirmation as to exactly who they've managed to secure the services of. But they'll be a good team. They'll be another good mid-table team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jack obviously touched on Costorfin as being his sort of favourites to go down, and again, it's a difficult one to comment on completely, because I think a lot of that is based on some potential rumours that are circulating that they may well lose some further. Well, they've lost Dickinson to Heriots, I believe, and there's some chatter that they may have lost more than that.
Yeah.
But as is quite often the case, in fact, no, what you're looking at there, they have lost.
Yeah.
Storfen have lost Naylor.
Yeah, so Naylor's gone to Watsonians.
Right. I
And
think that-
Watsonians have confirmed that on the 24th of March on
Right.
Twitter.
Okay.
So that one is confirmed. Yeah.
Right, so that is
There
confirmed.
we
So, I
go.
mean, that is a massive signing for Watsonians. Probably just gives them that sort of another player of quality, and really probably should, to me, step them. I mean, they were sixth last year, so it's not like they were a million miles away.
Yeah.
But I would expect probably them and Carlton to be making up the last of the top half.
Yeah.
So Costorfin are kind of getting body blows left, right, and centre, it seems, and probably are going to be struggling. I do. I mean, I'd be looking at it. I genuinely think Meigle have got a chance at 6th.
I think can even push a bit further than that, to be perfectly honest. With the signings they've made, I genuinely believe that Meigle side this year looks decent. That's excluding Forfs, I would think it looks like one of the strongest sides in the SPCU in recent years, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think that's unfair. They seem to have a lot of bases covered, by all accounts. Again, I mean, Persil spoke about Sammy kind of coming on with the ball. I suppose it'll be interesting to see how their sort of seam attack probably stacks up. I could see them having runs, and I think on their day I can see them posting some quite good totals.
Mm-hmm.
I still probably do look at their bowling attack slightly and just wonder how will it deal with that step up. And I suppose that's still where there's a bit of questions around their squad. I would say that's probably how will it cope with stepping up the way.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
So, but I'd probably be backing them to come in. Yeah, 6th. I'd probably be saying if Storff and Al getting decimated, probably Stu Mel would be who I'd then be expecting next. Riyad Henry came across from Fergusley as
Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking in my head if it definitely was Fergusley came across from. Came across coach, but even on the pitch, he's a good signing to have made.
Absolutely. I mean, he showed that. He had some strong performances in the Cup, certainly at the back end of last year. Don't pay that close attention to what happens in the league in the West.
He's been one of the leading players in the West for quite a number of years. So, he's definitely a strong signing there. Touch on perhaps the struggles of Storffen, but I do see that Stonywood and Falkland, there could be some struggles there. Falkland, I was led to believe that there is a pro due to sign, but I don't know if it's a situation where, as with previous years, there's been some issues with paperwork, getting paperwork processed for professional or just overseas players. So I don't know, and to be honest, them having a pro or not is likely to make a massive difference to how their season goes. Lost Castles from last year due to, he's injured, but I think by all accounts they were going to lose him anyway.
Yeah.
From conversations with people from Falkland, they had kind of accepted that, and obviously they've lost Lyle as well. Yeah. So that's, I mean, Harshaw had a very good season for them last year. But my understanding was he was actually going to go pro for their 2s, based on the signing, but I've not heard anything on that.
Interesting to see what happens there.
Yes, and Stonywood.
So they initially seem to have planned to have Gareth Walmerans back as their overseas amateur, but I believe he's not eligible to be an amateur anymore, basically. So that's not happening. So that's a blow because he was one of their top performers last year. I've not seen the announcement of any replacement. We've seen Sean Walmerans has been announced, but I think he's announced for their second.
He was their 2s amateur, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what I'd seen.
So we'll have the joys of playing against him instead.
That'll be fun. These overseas players in Division 1, that's going to be great fun for us, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they lost, their skipper, Jamie King, who started the season last season as their skipper, stepped down towards the tail end of the season. I'm yet to see whether he is still around this year. Again, it was one of these that kind of on the rumour mill that there seemed to be some suggestions that perhaps he was stepping down due to the fact he wouldn't be here this season. I don't know whether that's founded or not, but I mean, Stonywood really were saved by a very good start to the season last year.
Yeah, they started well, and then it was poor for sort of the last 3 quarters, really.
Yeah,
had a good strong first quarter, and then totally fell apart. So they'll certainly be hoping that doesn't repeat itself.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of it. I mean, I think I would imagine Falkland and Stonywood will be very much within that relegation dogfight again this year. And, you know, obviously we are an SPCU supporting podcast. So, you know,
So-
we obviously want Corstorphine to go down.
Absolutely.
Nothing
Or if any of the other Edinburgh
just-
teams have
or
a
Heriots.
Harriet's
That'd be
down, that'd be
fine.
grand.
I mean, that would be quite the turnaround.
It really would. Can't quite see it myself, but
Well, I mean, it would be a story and a half.
it would. Yeah. So interesting. And yeah, a very competitive season ahead. It's certainly not clear cut at either end of the table. And I wouldn't rule out there being some surprise packages in there. Someone making a run that you maybe don't expect to make a run, or someone struggling that
Yeah,
you
and
would
I think,
otherwise expect to be pretty good.
I think if you kind of can keep things, the EPL, yeah, okay, you're not going to be challenging under these circumstances, but if you can kind of keep yourself quite solid throughout most of the season, and even if you just have a mini run at some point, that's easy enough to get you into the middle section. And I think, you know, that for this area, that would be an excellent thing to see there being some breakthrough in that sort of, you know, Forfs have been kind of carrying the torch for the last few years, but seeing that breakthrough able to happen, and not just happen this season, but cemented that actually, you know, this area is able to not just with Forfs battle against the Edinburgh sides, but the other teams. And, you know, and I think we spoke to Persil. I think, you know, for a little place like Meigle, they are doing a fine job of, they seem to have amassed a decent squad. And Persil touched on some young lads that we played against last year.
Yeah.
Look like they've got bright futures ahead of them. And, you know, they are, you know, very much sort of batting above their average in how they probably should perform. So
Absolutely, but I mean, full credit to them. They've got a lot of guys there that have put the dedicated work in and got the club to where, and they're there on merit. So absolutely full credit to them getting there.
So obviously I think that this is really the first in our sort of pre-season preview shows. So we've got EPL coming up.
EPL is this is the EPL. Yeah, so we're going to do the North East Championship next week.
Oh, and you'll keep me right.
And then we'll do Division 1 and 2 the week after that.
Yeah, I'll talk about myself.
You'll talk about
for
yourself.
a whole episode.
Yeah.
The guest on that one is me.
I'm not even going to bother. I'll just leave you to it.
It's just a monologue of me.
Yeah.
But as always, there is other rumblings going on in Scottish cricket. It seems like Scottish cricket and Twitter is just insane.
Yeah. Do we have to?
I mean, I don't have to.
Go.
I think it just is insane.
It is. It is. Yeah. On you go.
No, I mean, I think it's just the thing's just a mess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the chair at Cricket Scotland has now stood down, Anjan Luthra, since we last recorded our podcast. The whole thing's a horrible mess, and it serves absolutely no one well. Some of the stuff that Anjan Luthra put on Twitter in the sort of immediate couple of days after his resignation, it's stuff that I think there had been rumblings about and that the wider cricket community feared was the case. And it seems that it is the way that so many people seem to think it is, that there's just no progress. And I really struggle to see how Cricket Scotland can move on from all of the troubles that it's currently got.
It feels like there's no winners currently in Scottish cricket.
Absolutely. And there are fears for the game kind of from the top to the bottom. I think ultimately club cricket will survive because there's enough people that want to go out on a Saturday and play club cricket, and so there'll be enough people that will want to organise club cricket.
Well, and a lot of club cricket is largely actually not organised by, it's not centrally organised by Cricket Scotland.
Absolutely, it's done by the
organised
sort of regional
yeah.
boards and all of that stuff. So ultimately, I think those of us that love the game and love to go out and spend our Saturdays in the summer or Sundays in the summer playing the game, we'll still have that opportunity. But what goes on above that, it is just a bit of a shambles at the moment, and it is really concerning, because I feel like, certainly on the international stage, you look at the progress that Scotland have made in both men's and women's cricket over the last 5-10 years, has been impressive, and there has been the calls sort of across of, well, Scotland must be the next cab off the rank for full member status, and that we should see Scotland playing test match cricket, which is what we all absolutely want to see, because the vast majority of us still believe that is the ultimate form of the game.
Although seems to be something that Cricket Scotland have given up on, interestingly. Now, maybe that's part of the, obviously there looks like there will be quite, well, we had a significant change at the top, and I imagine we will see another significant change at the top. What that looks like, who knows? Because who wants to come in at the top?
Well, that's the thing. It's how do you attract someone into that job?
Oh, I mean, why would anyone take the job?
Yeah, because there's all the changing the boundaries report and all that sort of stuff that desperately needs addressed and addressed properly. But the organisation as a whole is close to insolvency, is what we're led to believe. In terms of the sort of data and things they have on the demographic of the people that are playing the game, the registration system isn't fit for purpose, so that all needs to be addressed, and I know there are plans in the works for a new system to come in. But why would you want to lead an organisation where it just doesn't seem to have it just doesn't seem to have itself together, and on a clear path as to how it comes through all these things? It'll take someone pretty bold to get it out of the mess it's in.
And the thing is we've actually, I mean, in this week we've seen, the governing party in Holyrood kind of coming out and further sticking the knife into things as well. And it's not to take this down a political debate or anything.
I mean, if they're
but it's
stones and glass houses.
Well, I mean, absolutely, and as I say, that's why we're not going to take this down a political debate or anything like that. But the problem is actually that what we seem to have is a situation where externally we now appear to have a lot of voices that have got quite a significant amount of influence, but actually very, very little knowledge as to what the actual situation is and things like that. I think it is an issue we've tried to steer away from. We've kind of slightly touched on it briefly. It's something we have little experience of and feel would not be appropriate, therefore, for us to speak about the issue. And nobody, I'm not saying nobody, the vast majority of people have no issue with people having an issue with racism or anything like that. But I think we also want to see that the game moves forward, and we seem to just have a big brick wall in front of us right now. And I think it's, as two podcasters who, I mean, part of the reason we want to do this is we want to take the game out to more people and
absolutely,
and promote a game that we all love and things like that. And actually, it feels like it should be a game that we're embarrassed about. And I'll be honest, I don't see that in. We're in a club where, we have at least
I'd see
4 different nationalities, and it's, we're not all white guys and all that kind of thing. And, we've played at Perth, who again, it's not, I'm just think we're getting portrayed in the wrong way, as not being inclusive. And maybe in other areas.
I think it's key that there was governance failings at Cricket Scotland and the Western Union at their organisational levels. I'm absolutely not in any way saying that there isn't racism in Scottish cricket. But Scottish cricket is not institutionally racist, and that's not what the report said as well. But I feel like that is the way it's portrayed.
But
and that
I could even live with turning round and saying that Scottish cricket or Cricket Scotland is institutionally racist. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that. But
and I think that Cricket Scotland being institutionally racist and Scottish cricket being institutionally racist are not the same thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the perception, is that they are one and the same, and it's not. It's cricket clubs are one of the most culturally diverse places that you will find in our communities.
But I also don't just think that the Scottish cricket, the game in Scotland is being portrayed as institutionally racist. I believe there are external parties, who I would be shocked if they've ever actually attended a proper Scottish
100%.
club cricket game, whether it be in the East, West, or in our area.
Yeah.
Who they're not just portraying it as institutionally racist, they're just portraying it as racist.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's to suit their own agendas, and I think that's wrong. We want to be inclusive. I agree. I believe we are. You look at other sports in this country, and we are far more inclusive.
100%. 100%.
That's not the story that's being sold. And to be honest, I feel like anybody who tries to sell that story is just getting chased out of town over it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I will give a shout out to another podcast, because Halfway Up Middle
That's terrible.
I know, gonna
Shocking.
But yeah, I think they did an episode a couple of weeks ago. They did it far more justice than I think either of us could do it. And if you have 40 minutes, you've spent an hour listening to us if you're listening still. So yeah, if you've got a spare 45 minutes or whatever the length of their podcast is, go listen to that. I would highly recommend it.
But on that serious subject note, I think we should wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
We'll see everyone next week for our NEC preview show.
Let us know your thoughts. How do you think the EPL is going to go this year? Let us know on Twitter at dib.pod or in the comments section on YouTube. And all the usual: like, share, review, tell your pals, your granny as well. Tell all of them. This is us settling back into a weekly rhythm. So we're here with you every week. Well, mostly every week. Callum's moving house in the summer. How selfish. So we might miss that week.
Just need to do the ground maintenance and not get soaked and then have to sit in a car for 40 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, this is us back to being regular. So we hope we have you along for the ride all summer. And we'll speak to you again next week.
Bye, everyone.